What's up everyone, and happy Saturday. So in today's video, I'm going to be explaining what I believe to be a huge opportunity in the market right now. So we're going to get right to the point, but if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. I post brand new videos every single day, but let's get right into it. So specifically, I'm looking at uranium stocks like CCJ, NXE, URNM, and URA, okay? These four I'm all looking at. The one I'm looking at the most and my favorite is CCJ. These are uranium stocks, and let's just take a look at the spot price of uranium. Over the past 25 years, this thing has had a wild ride. From 2000 all the way up to 2007, it went from like $8 up to $140. That is crazy movement. Since then, it has slowly faded off, but it is breaking 5-year highs right now. We could see over the past 5 years, it has basically doubled. It went from, I guess you could say, $17 to actually $38 as of Friday. You know, so it's booming up. It's breaking 5-year highs, and the reason I showed you this is to show you that, one, uranium prices are pretty volatile, but also, two, they have a lot of potential. Right now it's at $38. It has been at highs of $140, just in 2007, so it definitely has historical growth potential. Another thing to keep in mind is, you're probably wondering, well, why are uranium prices rising? Well, one, basically everything's rising, with all the shortages and, inflation and all that stuff going on. Gold prices are booming, silver prices are booming, lumber prices are booming, even copper prices are booming up. Everything's going up in 2021, and uranium is no different. But either way, on top of that, there's less supply in the market right now. In 2020, it caused less uranium to be produced. Some of the production facilities shut down for a little bit, so it kind of slowed down the production of uranium, while at the same time, as governments around the world shift to, I guess you could say, greener energy, and they kind of stop using coal, and some of them are actually shifting towards nuclear energy, and even the U.S. Reportedly is going to use funds from the infrastructure bill to revive the nuclear power industry. And we all know that was a huge deal, a huge bill with that infrastructure bill that the U.S. had passed. That's huge, right? On top of that, giant nations like China and India are also building more plants, and they're going to be using more nuclear power. So obviously, that'll definitely have an increased demand for uranium. And on top of that, there's a little bit less supply. So uranium prices are rising. And it's not just for one little reason. The world is shifting to stop using coal and other forms of, I guess you could say, bad energy, and they're starting to kind of diversify and use some other forms of energy. And guys, look, I'm not a scientist. I don't focus specifically on uranium. I focus on stocks. But either way, it has a lot of growth potential, and there's a lot of reasons for this. Another thing to keep in mind is there is an asset management firm called Sprott buying up a ton of physical uranium. This is also putting a lot of upwards buying pressure on the spot price of uranium, which in turn is making uranium stocks rise, like CCJ. Over the past year alone, this stock has doubled. It went from $9 up to over $22 on this past Friday. In the past couple weeks, it went from, I guess you could say, $16 all the way up to $22. That's some crazy growth. It's crazy movement, especially out of, a $16 stock. So that's great to see. Like I said, there are a couple reasons why uranium is rising. Another thing to keep in mind is there's a lot of smart money buying in. Looking at CCJ, especially over the past 5 days, this thing has just gone straight up. And why is it? Why is this doing this? In its simplest terms, there's a lot more buyers than sellers. We can see a bunch of upwards buying pressure coming in, but on top of that, in the options market, I've been seeing ridiculous orders being filled for call options on CCJ. You can go out to December of 2020 or December of 2021 and January of 2023. I've been seeing so much money just fly into this options chain, and it really makes sense. So if you're an options trader, you know that implied volatility is extremely important. Sometimes you have setups like SPRT where the implied volatility is 400%, and whether you buy a call option or a put option, you're most likely screwed because the options market is pricing in such crazy moves where it's so hard to profit. And that's the opposite of what we're seeing in CCJ right now. Let's take a look back throughout history. On this max weekly chart, CCJ, it went from, you could say $2 all the way up to $56 from 2000 to 2007. Then it came crashing down to 13 and it went right back up to 45 and then it slowly faded off. What I'm trying to demonstrate is CCJ is not a stock that goes from $20 to $21 over the course of 2 years. This is a very volatile stock, which is exactly what we want to see. But here's the thing. The implied volatility on this is relatively low. Let's look at this 1 year chart. Implied volatility is relatively low, and if we're just looking at it objectively, it's a 62% implied volatility. Now look, it's not as low as a stock like Coca-Cola, but Tesla last year had an implied volatility of over 120%. So CCJ has a relatively low implied volatility, and the great thing is how the options market is pricing in its potential over the next year or so. So I was looking at some statistics, and the options market is only pricing in a 20% chance of CCJ closing above $30 on January 20th of 2023. Only a 20% chance. One, this stock looks pretty solid on a technical level. Two, there's fundamental reasons why this stock and uranium prices are rising. And then three, just to see this types of options pricing, in my opinion, given those three factors, I think this is a great play. Now, here's the thing. Do I think there's a 99% chance of this stock going up over the next year or two? No, but I think there is a pretty solid chance, and I think especially given the way the options market is pricing this move, I think it's a pretty awesome opportunity. Anything can happen. Always do your own research, but I just really love how the market's only pricing in a 20% chance of this stock closing above $30 on January 20th of 2023, given, the way uranium prices have moved in the past. They don't move slow. They're either exploding up or tanking down for the most part, and right now they're exploding up. And then on top of that, it's not like it's just rising for no reason at all. It's rising because the world is starting to use more uranium, and all around us we're starting to see governments and institutions focus on greener forms of energy. So in my opinion, it's a really solid setup. I think it has a ton of growth potential. I think it looks solid on a technical level, a fundamental level, and especially with the way the options market's pricing, it's awesome. And like I said, I've been seeing a lot of smart money get into this. I've been seeing so many call options being bought on this thing, and look, anything can happen. For me, this is a long-term play. I don't care what CCJ does on Tuesday or next week or in 2 weeks from now. I don't care about that. Over the next year to 2 years, I think this has a ton of potential, and maybe even longer, maybe even 5 years. I think there's a ton of growth potential, and I'll definitely keep everyone updated with it. I really like the play. Like I said, do your own research, but in my opinion, it's pretty solid. I really like it, and on top of that, it's not really correlated to the market overall. So theoretically, whether the market's rising up or tanking, it shouldn't have a huge impact on this. It's not really too correlated with the market. There's a lot of nuclear plants being opened up around the world, and especially we're seeing all the buying pressure from smart money, and then especially that asset management firm. It's awesome to see. And out of all the plays I listed, CCJ is my favorite. They are the largest publicly traded uranium company in the world. Now, they're not the largest uranium company in the world. They're the largest publicly traded uranium company. So I really like to play. If you want to play CCJ the exact same way that I am, you can click that first link in the description down below. There will also be other plays included in that, daily swing trades, day trades, access to all the bots I programmed, a bunch of stuff. So definitely check it out. It's that first link in the description down below. You can cancel at any time, and I hope you have an amazing weekend.